Jay Jones keeps on losing, and here at the John Crump News Channel, we love it. My name is John Crump. This is Flying Rich. In a little bit, we'll be joined by DLD After Dark if he actually shows up. If he actually shows up, he's already 5 minutes late. So
we're not on his channel. Should we be on his channel also?
I don't know. No? He didn't say anything. I mean, we can add it. I mean,
because the YouTube censors. I think he wants to stay low on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think so too. That's why I didn't do it. But we're gonna be talking about the injunction that just came out, which is another injunction that's already happened, but this injunction has expanded a little bit. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I'm sure we all know about my injunction in Crump versus Cats. I used to say another word, and then Rich didn't get the joke, and he actually thought that was the name of the case, but Crump versus Cats. But there was another case out of Washington County, which the NRA brought that got an injunction against the state police as well. There was no written order yet. So we weren't really sure what the injunction was going to look like totally, but now we do, and now we do, and it looks like it is more than what we originally thought, because it is a statewide injunction affecting all law enforcement.
Wow.
So no one can enforce the assault firearms ban. So that should clear up any type of ambiguity. Rich, say it.
Ambiguity. I can't say that. Ambiguity?
Ambiguity. Yep. So that should clear up anything. So, yeah. So, yes. So as of right now, the injunction in Washington County affects all law enforcement. The hell is this in the corner?
It's a new option on StreamYard.
Oh,
weird. You can vote.
Can anyone else out there vote?
Yeah, well, I think. I don't know how.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how users interact with it, but
yeah. Bob, I haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, they type 1 or 2 in the chat. That's what they do.
Okay. So what this means is that it should give some FFLs that were on the fence about, well, should I still sell or shouldn't sell? This should say, yeah, it's okay, because there's no one to enforce the law. The law will not be enforced. And this is just an expansion over the current injunctions, which means that everyone is still a-okay to do what they do. Transfers can still go through. You can still ship firearms into the state. And you can still you can still transfer firearms in the state, because law enforcement cannot enforce the ban on you.
So, all right, because I know some FFLs were like, well, we understand, but we're just going to play it safe and not.
Yeah, well, this should give them more of a reasonable sense of safety.
So how soon should the NRA fundraiser hit my mailbox for this?
Pretty soon. It's good on them, man.
I mean, I'm so used to dishing on the NRA. It is good when they do the right thing, and this is big time right thing.
This is Virginia Shooting Sports Association with the NRA. The Virginia Shooting Sports Association is like the NRA group in Virginia. I don't really know anyone there, and I don't really see them doing too much. The premier group in Virginia is the VCDL, Virginia Citizens Defense League.
The OGs.
Yeah. Yep. So this should help FFLs breathe a little bit easier. I know, like the Stone Arsenal, XCal, they were still doing everything because of the injunctions, and they are now have even more of a of breathing room. So any FFLs that were a little bit worried, this should get them at ease a little bit.
That's pretty amazing. That is, and amazing that it's the NRA. Amazing that judges are going for common sense as opposed to being liberal lapdogs. This is what the Second Amendment is all about: the right to keep and bear arms.
Yeah, Jay Jones has been losing a lot lately, man.
Well, between that and a bunch of prosecutors and a bunch of sheriffs said, yeah, we're not enforcing this.
Yeah, 17 Commonwealth attorneys and a bunch of sheriffs. Attorney General Jay Jones of Virginia. If he misspells everything. How do you misspell attorney if you're the Attorney General in Virginia, if you're the Attorney General for Virginia?
Is it a DEI hire?
I don't know, man. He's Two Bullet Jones is what they call him. Remember, this is the guy that wanted to see Republican children murdered.
Oh yeah, that guy. He's a DEI for mental deficiency.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So we've had 5 votes in our poll.
All right. Well, that's good. But yeah, that's basically it.
So frick yeah. So right now, is there a time limit on this injunction? Is it till
July of 2027?
So this is. Did they pass the amendment that was postponing
the carry part of it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. He's the Attorney General that ran from state police at over 100 miles an hour, received 1,000 hours of community service. Where he, you know what he did for his community service?
Wrote an essay.
No, he volunteered for the Jay Jones for AG campaign. No joke.
What are you, Joe Biden?
Crazy, right?
No. Wow. All right. So in Florida, there's a super speeder law. If you're 15 miles over the limit, you spend the night in jail, they confiscate your car. That's just speeding. That's not running from the police.
And the NAACP, the campaign for himself.
Now, help me understand this here, because if you're attorney general or running for attorney general, you must be an attorney and know something about the law and consequences.
But he doesn't know how to spell attorney, so there's that.
All right.
He's not an attorney, he's an attorney.
Okay. And this is all making more and more sense. 1, he can't spell. 2, he doesn't understand the consequences of the law. And 3, he doesn't understand the consequences of his mouth when he's running it and saying that, he'd like his opponent's kids dead.
Yep.
Crump, an absolute permission to speak freely about confidential things that we've talked about. Have I ever wished ill on anyone I politically disagree with other than Rare Breed.
No.
Not even them.
No.
What kind of monster are you?
Yep. Yeah, he was fleeing to elude, which means he was running from the cops.
So, should there be a good moral character clause for Attorney General? Can we?
I don't know. I think he
enforced?
should have been red flagged for his comments, but because he's so good at, he's so for red flag laws, he should have been red flagged.
Wow. Agreed.
Yep. So this is by Judge Campbell.
Crump, is there a show tonight that we all should watch?
Yeah, Ticks and Bangs.
At 9:00?
Yep.
And is that on Rumble or is that on YouTube?
Yep.
It's on both? And
yep,
that's you and Hank Strange talking about watches? And are you going to give away a watch tonight?
We will be.
Wow, cool.
Even a Tony at law.
Oh my gosh, we have such a great audience.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and read his letter.
Or is this the letter to the court about why he evaded the police?
No, the judge's letter.
Oh. So Fat Gray Man says 9 p.m. Dark Standard Time? No.
Dark was supposed to be on here. He said 5, like 20 minutes ago.
He said 5 minutes, 20 minutes ago?
Yeah. All right. Give me 1 second here. All right, here we go. So read away, Rich.
Oh, hold on. And let me make it big because size matters. Let's see. Blah, letter of opinion, counsel. This matter was set for a hearing by the court for today upon parties' disagreement as to the verbiage of the proposed order. Plaintiffs' counsel, Mr. Porter, Mr. Cruz, and Mr. Stanley and Mr. Burgess of Attorney General's office appeared via WebEx. The crux of the disagreement was premised upon the court's scope of the injunction. Plaintiff's version of the proposed order entertains an order of universal application across all of the Commonwealth. Conversely, the Commonwealth's version of the proposed order would limit the scope of the injunction only to the named defendants herein. Virginia courts have traditionally disfavored enforcing injunctions against non-parties in the absence of evidence that the non-party is so intertwined in the action being enjoined and has actual knowledge of the same to the extent that they are essentially acting as an agent or in concert with party. N.C. Powell v. Ward, the case at bar, the plaintiffs seek this court to enjoin all of law enforcement across the Commonwealth from enforcing the provisions of the bans, including those persons and their agencies or offices, regardless of whether they are parties to this litigation. Essentially, the plaintiffs argue for the award of a universal injunction prohibiting enforcement of the same across all localities covering every corner of the Commonwealth. This is a case of first impression from the court's research of the same. On the facts of this case and matters pending in other judicial circuits in the Commonwealth, the court is concerned that the scope of this limited prior ruling raises the proposition of whether the plaintiffs herein can be afforded complete relief as sought herein. By way of example, the newly enacted statute will ban transport of assault weapons within the Commonwealth. The redefinition of assault weapon will necessarily ban firearms that were previously allowed to be transported freely throughout the Commonwealth without fear of criminal prosecution. Should this court's prior ruling be limited to only party defendants herein, a person could freely transport an AR-15 through Washington County without fear of running afoul of the law. However, if they crossed the county line into Grayson County, then arguably they could be charged with the same, since the coverage of the injunction would not extend therein. This court has concerns about the treacherous patchwork of enforcement that this may lead to for plaintiffs and law enforcement alike, and whether this ruling should be amplified to include universally all of the Commonwealth and all law enforcement agencies within the same. Although no court in the Commonwealth has had the opportunity to directly examine the universal applicability of injunctions such as the one sought herein, the U.S. Supreme Court has recently had an opportunity within the last year to be called upon to determine the validity of universal injunctions within the context of litigation involving birthright citizenship and the Trump administration's attempts to regulate the same by executive order. In the CASA case, several U.S. district courts had issued injunctions preventing the government from enforcing provisions of President Trump's executive order. On a 6-3 decision, Supreme Court held that universal injunctions likely to exceed equitable authority that Congress has granted to the federal courts. The equitable relief in federal courts is that traditionally accorded by courts of equity at the same time of the founding. Nothing like a universal injunction was available at the founding, or, for that matter, for more than a century thereafter. Thus, under the Judiciary Act of 1789, federal courts lack authority to issue them. Without deciding the constitutionality of a universal injunction, the Supreme Court decided the matter upon the procedural grounds that the U.S. district courts are creatures of state, and Congress had never granted to them express jurisdiction to issue such injunctions. Applying the Supreme Court's holding in CASA to the case at bar by analogy, it would appear that for this court to have solid footing to issue a universal injunction, there would need to be an enabling statute under Virginia law granting such authority to this court. Indeed, Chapter 24 of Title 8.01 of the Virginia Code, Section 1950 amended, gives a broad grant of authority to circuit courts to award injunctions within and without the circuit in matters involving statewide application. Clearly, the General Assembly intended injunctions to be means of relief to protect plaintiffs and their property from irreparable harm. Partial relief would not suffice in this court's view to achieve the intent of this statute within the context of the facts of this case. Accordingly, the court now finds that to afford complete relief to the plaintiffs herein, the injunction imposed by the court's prior ruling shall extend to statewide application and join all law enforcement agencies of the Commonwealth and its localities, to include law enforcement officers as defined blah of the Virginia Code and Commonwealth attorneys from enforcement of the provisions of the bans within all localities and jurisdictions of the Commonwealth on the same terms and conditions as otherwise set forth in the court's prior letter opinion. Although one would think that one would have to be living under a rock not to be aware of these proceedings. And they're like across the Commonwealth and the nation. This court recognizes that reasonable notice of this injunction should be given to all of law enforcement prior to the onset of the terms of the same. Accordingly, the state will order that the clerk provide notice of statewide application of injunction by delivery of a copy teste of order granting injunction to all law enforcement officers as defined by code, blah, Virginia Commonwealth Attorney offices within Commonwealth Court will amend the onset of the state to July 21st, 2026, and allow adequate time to deliver same.
So basically, well, the injunction don't go into effect on this one until July 21st. My injunction is in effect now. So this should clear up anything everyone's enjoying. The law is enjoined.
So is the injunction your party to statewide, or is it just county?
It's statewide.
Okay. Okay. So, and I'd seen the same thing in Florida when we went through open carry. While it wasn't official yet, the AG sent a letter to all law enforcement saying, hey, we will not prosecute open carry, so don't arrest anyone for it.
Yeah, like they're not going to arrest anyone because July 21st.
Yeah, no, because you're not going to get arrested and prosecuted before July 21st. And
even if you did get prosecuted, they would have to drop it on July 21st. And
correct.
Nothing.
That was going to be my next sentence. Yeah. So no, ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't no one got time for that. All right, guys, that's it. Good news. We're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. And my name is John Crump. This is Flying Rich, and we're going to get out of here, okay? And Dark never showed up.
DPT.
Yeah, he said 5 minutes. I was like, after 10 minutes, we're like, we're going to go live. And Richard's like, you're not going to wait for him? I was like, do you think he's going to be on anytime soon? And Richard's like, good point.
DPT.
All right. See you guys later.